Hello everybody and welcome to Managerial Economics discussion. Chapter 4, Competitive Market Structure. Before moving to our discussion, let's define what a market consists or what market means. Market means a collection of buyers having ability and willingness to buy a particular product. By the way, these two terms should be fulfilled to say a market. All firms and individuals willing and able to buy or sell a particular product. A firms or individuals only willing to buy or willing to sell cannot be a market. So these two terms should be fulfilled to say market willingness plus capability. And the second point is the objective of any business organization is to maximize the profit. So to maximize a profit, any business organization is dependent on the type of the market structure in which it operates. And in turn, the structure of the market governs the degree of pricing power. This is the main point, by the way, because the degree of pricing power is determined by the structure of the market. The profit maximization is dependent on the structure of the market. Degree of pricing power is determined by structure of the market, both in the short run and in the long run. Market structure is the market characteristics that determine the economic environment in which a firm operates. Let me ask you one question here. Why we need to know about market structure? We need to know about market structure because it determines the degree of pricing power, both in the short run and in the long run. That means who is going to decide the price, either the firm or the customer. So this is determined by the market structure. Let's move to the classifications of market structure. Market structure is typically characterized on the basis of four important industry characteristics. By the way, now let's see the parameters or let's see the criteria to divide market structures. Market structure can be divided into two major divisions based on these characteristics. The first one is based on the number and the size of the buyers and sellers. The number of buyers and the number of sellers, size of buyers and size of sellers is one of the parameters to categorize market structure. And the second is product differentiation, whether the product is homogeneous or differentiated product. This is also another parameter to divide market structure. And the third is entry and exit condition, whether there is an entry condition, whether there is a barrier to entry or a barrier to exit from the market. This is also another condition or another criteria. And the fourth is the amount and cost information about the product, price, and the quality. Here, the customer, the seller, or the buyer may incur cost while they are searching information about the price and the quality of the products. So this is also another important characteristics to divide the market structure. So based on these four characteristics, based on these four parameters, we can divide the market structure into two major divisions, that is perfect competition and imperfect competition. And imperfect competition again subdivided into three categories, that is monopolistic competition, oligopoly, monopoly. So we can divide types of market structure into four types, that is perfect competition, monopolistic competition, oligopoly, and monopoly. Today we are going to discuss about the perfect competition. Perfect competition is a type of market structure where many firms sell similar products, that is homogeneous products. There is no product differentiation here. and profit are virtually non-existent due to the fierce competition. Here, because the products are similar, or we can say homogeneous product, and there are many numbers of sellers and buyers, there is a tough competition. Due to tough competition, it is possible to say that there is no economic profit. There is no economic profit here in this type of market structure. Perfect competition is an abstract term used to compare against real-life markets. By the way, in reality, there is no perfect competition that fulfills all the characteristics of perfect competition. But still, there are types of market which is almost similar to that of perfect competition. Although perfect competition is based on a number of assumptions that in reality it rarely exists. Still, there are some close examples like farmers' product, like electronics market, or we can say currency exchange, are some of an examples which are somewhat related or somewhat similar to that of the perfect competition. That means they fulfill some of the characteristics of the perfect competition. Now let's move to the features of perfect competition. The perfect competition has the following characteristics. The market structure of perfect competition has the following characteristics. The first one is many buyers and sellers of similar and undifferentiated, or we can say homogeneous products. That's why, by the way, there is a fierce or tough competition here, because there is no differentiation, because the buyers and sellers are many, so there is a tough competition. And they are the firms in this market structure is price taker. The price is determined by the market force, that is the intersection of the market supply and market demand curve. Prices are not set on the basis of cost-benefit analysis of the firm. Rather, a firm just takes the market price simply as it is. And there is tough competition between similar products. Because of the similarity of the product, there is tough competition. And here, there is optimal allocation of resources. In this market structure, firms allocate their resources optimally. Because of tough competition, they want to allocate their resources optimally to exist in the market. And there is no collaboration or union, free entry and exit. There is no collaboration like employee union. There is no collaboration between the firms. All the informations are clear and known by the sellers as well as the buyers. And there is free entry and exit from the market. A firm can exit from the market without any barrier, at the same time can enter in the market without any barrier. There is no barriers or regulations that hinders the firm to enter or to exit from the market. There is no monopoly power as well. That will be an obstacle for a firm to enter into the market. So we can say free entry and exit. And the next is buyers and sellers have perfect knowledge about the quality of the product and the price of the product. All are clear and known. The informations are clear. And no transaction costs. That means cost of traveling to store is almost zero, or we can transport all the factor of production without any restrictions. We can transport. There is no monopoly power in the supplier side. So we can transport all the factor of production used to produce the products. In this market structure, only normal profit can be made. Thus, producers or the firm can only cover the opportunity cost. In the long run, particularly, a firm cannot make an economic profit. Rather, a firm can make only normal profit that covers the opportunity cost. And as I said before in the previous slide, there is no perfect competition in practical scenario, but still there are almost similar type of market which takes some of the features of the perfect competition. For example, the agricultural product which can be sold, there are many sellers here and many buyers, and at the same time the price are almost similar, and the price is decided or determined by the market price rather than just a single firm cannot decide based on the cost benefit analysis. And the foreign currency market is also determined by the market demand and supply. So if a firm wants to enter in a foreign currency market, so the firm just accepts the price of the market. Even a buyer can also accept the price of the market as it is. These are the features of the perfect competition market. Let's see the demand curve of the firm and the market. Firms, as I said before, firms are price takers. The firm must take the price as a given and then decide the quantity to be supplied. In order to increase their revenue, a firm can determine the quantity to be supplied with the given price. They can increase their quantity to be supplied in order to increase their revenue, considering the price as a given. The individual firm's demand curve is market price and perfectly elastic, and firm can increase the quantity. Look here. This is the demand and supply curve of a market. And the supply, as the price increases, the supply quantity increases, and as the price increases, the demand decreases. By the way, the demand is from the consumer side, whereas the supply is from the producer side. So, as the price of the items increases, the suppliers want to supply more. As the price of the product increases, the consumer want to buy less. This is what we call law of demand and law of supply. And when this demand curve intersects the supply curve, so this point is the equilibrium point. It is the equilibrium point, and the corresponding price is the equilibrium price, and the corresponding output is the equilibrium output. And this price is just taken by an individual firm. An individual firm takes this price, the price determined by the market force, that is demand and supply. Thus, the demand curve for a single firm in a perfectly competitive market is equal to the price. It is equal to the price. Even it is equal to marginal revenue. Marginal revenue can be defined as the revenue obtained with the last output sold. Regardless of the quantity, the price remains the same. So here, the firm can sell any quantity with this given price. Now let's move to the maximum profit. To maximize the profit, a perfectly competitive firm produces the output at which the price equals the marginal cost, in a range over which the marginal cost is increasing, So price equals marginal cost. The profit of a perfectly competitive firm are profit equals total revenue, that is price times quantity, minus total cost. So the first order condition for maximizing the profit requires that the marginal profit is to be zero. The marginal profit is to be zero. So Here, when we derivate with respect to the quantity, the profit becomes 0 because it is a constant, and the price times quantity derivated with respect to quantity, and here it becomes price minus here marginal cost. So this leads us marginal cost equals price, or we can say price equals marginal cost in a perfectly competitive market. So to achieve a maximum profit, price equals marginal cost equals marginal revenue. Let's look at with this graph. As we know from mathematics, the slope of a cost curve here we say here is a cost curve, here is a cost curve, here is a cost curve, and there is a revenue curve, which is a straight line, revenue curve, which is a straight line. And the slope of the cost curve is exactly equals to the slope of the revenue line at the profit maximizing level of the output. Here, there is a slope for a revenue line, and the slope of this revenue line is equal to a point where the gap between the revenue line and the cost curve becomes maximum. That means when there is a maximum profit. And slope of the cost curve means marginal cost, and slope of the revenue means marginal revenue. So this statement tells us marginal cost, that is slope of the cost curve, equals marginal revenue, that is the slope of the revenue line. Thus the profit maximizing output is where marginal revenue equals marginal cost. Since marginal revenue equals market price, MP is market price for a perfectly competitive firm, so market price equals marginal cost to maximize the profit, or marginal revenue equals marginal cost equals market price equals demand for a single particular firm. Let's look at this graph. This is a marginal cost curve. This is a marginal cost curve for the firm's output, and this one is the average total cost. You know that total cost can be calculated as fixed cost plus variable cost, and this is an average total cost. And this is, since it is firm in a perfectly competitive market, this is a demand curve equals price of the market equals marginal revenue equals marginal cost, we can say here. And this, when here, as you know, as you see from here, the marginal cost curve increases. So the marginal cost curve increases and crosses the marginal revenue. And this is the point where we can maximize our profit, when the firm can maximize the profit. And let's see the profit. The profit, as you know, is the total cost minus, total revenue minus total cost. Or we can say here the difference between the average total cost and the marginal revenue, or we can say the price. So this is the profit which is above the average total cost. Here there is an economic profit in the short run, and firms are more interested to join the market to get this economic profit. Anyway, we will discuss it later. Increase the level of an activity if marginal revenue greater than marginal cost. If marginal revenue greater than, it is obvious that increase the level of an output activity. We increase the production if marginal revenue is above marginal cost. Here, as you see here, in this region, the marginal revenue is above the marginal cost in this region. And in this region, as you see, the marginal cost is above marginal revenue. So if we are in this region, we have to reduce the level of production to reduce our loss. if we are here in this region, we have to increase our production to achieve maximum profit, so as to arrive at a point where marginal revenue equals marginal cost. Let's do examples. The cost function for a firm is given by CQ equals 5 plus Q square. If the firm sales output in a perfectly competitive market and other firms in the industry sell output at a market price of 20 per, what price should the manager of this firm put on the product? And the next is, what level of output should be produced to maximize the profit, and how much profit will be earned? Solution. Before that, you have to remind that in a perfectly competitive market, the price equals the marginal cost, and marginal cost can be calculated from the total cost by first derivative of the total cost. The first derivative of the total cost provides us the marginal cost, and the price is given here because other industries sell their output based on the market price. So the firm in this market just accept, because this is a price taker, it accepts the 20 per as it is. Since the firm competes in a perfectly competitive market, it must charge the same price other firms charge. That is, price equals 20 per. It accepts because this is a price taker. To find the profit maximizing output, we must equate the price with the marginal cost. And the marginal cost, as I said, is the first derivative of total cost. When we derive this with respect to Q, this constant become eliminated, and this will be 2Q. So 2Q equals the price, that is 20, and Q equals by 10, it becomes 10. So Q equals 10, price equals 20, and the other is how much profit. Profit can be calculated by total revenue minus total cost. Total revenue equals price is 20, Q is 10. So 20 times 10 equals 200, minus, we just have a cost function, total cost function here. We just replace Q, that is 10, in this function, 10 square. 10 square is 100 plus 5, 105. So 200 minus 105 equals 95 is the profit. Let's move to the second equation. A competitive firm has the following cost function. This is a total cost function. Given that the market price for the firm's product is 16 per, find the following: the equilibrium output level, and that would maximize its profit. How much would be the maximum profit? Since this in a competitive market structure, a firm would maximize its profit when marginal cost equals marginal revenue. Being in a competitive firm, marginal revenue equals profit, such that profit is equals 16. Just to find out the marginal cost, we have to differentiate this total cost function. When we derive this one, the constant becomes eliminated, and this will be 4 plus 2 times 0.003 Q. So this will be the first derivative of the total cost, that is the marginal cost, and the marginal cost equals the marginal revenue, or we can say the price. So when we put this into, when we make 4 plus 0.006 Q equals 16, so we get Q equals 2000. This is the equilibrium output level. Once we get the quantity, we can calculate the profit by total revenue minus total cost, and total revenue can be expressed by price times quantity. Price is already known, that is 16, whereas quantity is calculated, that is 2000. So 16 times 2000 is total revenue minus total cost function by replacing the quantities. The quantity is 2000. So we can get 11,980 is the profit, the total profit. Let's move to the third example. An industry consisted 500 perfectly competitive firms with market demand and supply function described by quantity demanded 35,000 minus 20p, 20p, that is P stands for price, and quantity supplied equals 500 plus 10p. P is the price, that is the market price. What would be the market share of the output for each firm, and what would be the marginal cost for each firm? First, here, the quantity demand and the quantity supplied are given. So to determine the price is determined by the market, for that is the demand and supply, the intersection point of the demand, the market demand and the market supply. Now let's make it those equal. This is the point, this is the price that the firm takes. So when we make them equal, to find the equilibrium point, we have to equate the quantity demanded with the quantity supplied. So at equilibrium point, the price is 1,000. So 1,000 is the market price that is taken by the firms. So substitute the market price 1,000 in either of the demand and supply equation, that would yield the equilibrium quantity of the industry, the equilibrium quantity of the quantity demand and the quantity supply, that is 15,000. Because here is the equilibrium price, both quantity demand and quantity supplied are equal. Since the industry contains 5,000 competitive firms, each firm would produce 15,000, that is the market demand divided by their numbers, that is 3 units. Here is the market demand and the market supplied. 15,000 is the market demand, the market supplied. So there are 5,000 perfectly competitive firms in the market. So to get their quantity of production, we have to divide the quantity of the market by the number of the firms in the market, that is 3 units. Since the profit maximization condition is achieved when P equals marginal revenue equals marginal cost, the marginal cost should be the same as the price, that is 1,000. Let's move to the fourth example. Consider a competitive firm with a fixed cost of $8,000 and a variable cost function of this. So here total cost can be calculated by adding this fixed cost with this variable cost, right? This variable cost is equal to 75Q minus 12Q square plus 2Q cube. And the first question is, when would this firm prefer to shut down? And the second question is, draw a graph to show the price and the quantity of the shutdown decision. Let's go to the solution. The firm would shut down where the price of its product fails to a point where the price is equal to its average variable cost. By the way, if the price cannot cover the average variable cost, if the price cannot at least cover the average variable cost, so this is the point where the firm should shut down, should stop the production, because as the firm increases the production, the loss increases. So by stopping the production, it can decrease the loss. It can decrease the loss that can be brought by additional production. So the firm should shut down when the price of its product fails to a point where the price is equal to its average variable cost. At least it should cover the average variable cost and more. By the way, we have to remember that there is also a fixed cost. Here, we only said that the average variable cost. The price should cover the average variable cost, at least. If not, we have to stop here. So the point of shutdown is where the price equals the average variable cost. And the average variable cost from this equation is average variable cost can be calculated by total variable cost, or variable cost divided by Q. So variable cost is here divided by Q. When divided by Q cancel with Q, and Q square divided by Q remains Q here. Q cube becomes Q square. So this is the average variable cost function. So here this is the average variable cost function, and if the price, if the price is equal to this, that is the point where we want to close our production. Taking the first derivative of average variable cost, when we derivate the average variable cost, setting it to 0, that is 2, and solving for Q would give us the output level at which the firm would shut down. That means the extreme point or the turning point. So when we derivate that average variable cost and making it to zero, we get Q equals 3. Q equals 3 is the point that we have to stop. To find the price, we know that a competitive firm has a price equal to its marginal revenue, which is equal to the marginal cost. Marginal cost is the first derivative of the total cost, which is total cost equals fixed cost plus variable cost. Fixed cost is 800 and plus with the variable cost is 75Q minus 12Q squared plus 2Q cube. So when we derive this, we get marginal cost, that is 75 minus 24Q plus 6Q squared. This is the marginal cost that would be equal to the price. Price equals marginal cost equals 75 minus 24Q plus 6Q squared. Now let's replace Q, because Q we get here 3. Then when we replace Q, P equals 57. So the firm would prefer to shut down once the price fails to 55 or below. Because if the price is 57 or below, it cannot cover the average variable cost. To continue our production, at least it should be more than, the price should be more than average variable cost. This is the point of shutdown. That is the price 57 is the point of shutdown. Here is a graph of shutdown decision, which shows shutdown decision. Look, this one. This is the marginal cost curve, and this is the marginal revenue in a perfectly competitive market, and this is the point that we can achieve a maximum profit or a minimum loss, we can say, in the case of loss. And here, actually, here is this one is the average total cost. Here is average total cost, and this one is the average variable cost. So this is the point. This is the point of shutdown. Loss if shutdown. By the way, if the price is equal to the average total cost, if the price is equal to the average total cost, that is which includes the average variable cost and the average fixed cost, if it is here, if the price is here, so, and if we shut down, there is a loss of fixed cost. There is a loss because fixed cost is one lost already. Fixed cost is already lost. So if we shut down at this point, if the price is here and if we shut down here, there is a loss of fixed cost. But here, if the price is here, if the price equals average variable cost, if the price equals average variable cost and below, it is better to shut down. Otherwise, if we further continue our production, there is a loss. If we produce, there is a loss, because every single product that we are going to produce cannot cover its average variable cost. In general, if price is greater than short-term average variable cost, the firm should continue to operate. If a price is less than short-term average variable cost, the firm should shut down to minimize its loss. because with every item that we are going to produce, there is a loss associated with it. So to minimize that, we have to shut down our factory at a point where price equals average variable cost. Let's move to short-run equilibrium price and output determination. The short run can be defined as the period in which the number and the price of the firms are fixed. In this period, a firm can produce more only by increasing the variable input. Here, there is at least one input that is variable input. There is at least one input that is variable input, and a firm cannot get adequate time to vary all the inputs. And in short run, there is no new entry and exit of the firm from the market because it is short run. And the firm in a perfectly competitive market can either earn supernormal profit or normal profit or incur loss in the short period of time. But in the long run, the firm can only make a normal profit. There is no supernormal profit or there is no loss in the long run. In the long run, a firm can make a normal profit, which only covers the opportunity cost of a firm. Since a firm in a perfectly competitive market is a price taker, it has to adjust its level of output to maximize this profit. It can adjust the output. It takes a price of the market and can adjust the output. It can increase the production or it can decrease the production to maximize this profit. An increase in market demand puts upward pressure on price. In the short run, if the market demand increases, it takes or it pulls the price upward. As the price increases, there is an opportunity to earn a profit in the short run. So the firms can make a supernormal profit in the short run, and the industry will be attractive, and new firms are going to enter into the market to get that supernormal profit. But in the long run, only normal profit can be made, because once the price raises and the firms in the market get a supernormal profit, and new firms are going to enter in that market and take that profit. And when new firms are entering to the market, the supply increases, and that supply pulls down the price to the original price. So that's why in the long run equilibrium, only normal profit can be made. Look this. Initially, there is a market demand that's downward sloping and an upward sloping short-run supply. And this is a firm's. This is an individual firm, short-run marginal cost, short-run average total cost, and this one is marginal revenue equals price. And here, when the demand increases, when the demand shifts towards the right, when the demand increases, so the price here increases. The price further increases, and another demand curve for the individual firm here will be constructed. Look, this is the new price for the market, and this is the new demand curve for the individual firm. So there is a profit for this individual firm, which is, now let's look at the intersection between the marginal cost and the marginal revenue is here, and from here is a point. So here the price is above the short-run average total cost, so there is a profit. There is a profit here. There is a profit here. There is a profit because the price is more than, the price is above the short-run average total cost. So this profit attracts many firms to enter into the market. And again, the supply increases. Again, the supply increases. When the supply increases, by the way, this is a profit. This is a profit. The profit earned by the individual firm. When the supply increases, the price will be taken, or the price will be reduced. The price will be reduced again. Let's look at the long-run equilibrium price and output determination. In the long run, all factors become variable, and new firms can enter in the industry and exit from the firm, can leave the industry. As a result, all the existing firms will earn only normal profit in the long run. They earn zero economic profit, or we can say they earn zero economic profit or normal profit in the long run. Hence, the firms can increase their output by increasing the number and the plant size of the firm, because the firm can get adequate time to adjust their capacity. If the existing firms earn supernormal profit, the new firms in the long run, the new firms will enter the industry to get that attractive profit. So, as a result, the output produced will increase. That means the supply curve shifts from left to right. There is a rightward shift. That is, the supply increases. When the supply increases, the market price starts to reduce. The market price reduces. As a total output increases, the demand for factors of production will increase, by the way. On the other side, as the total output increases, as more and more firms enter into the market, the demand for the factors of production, or the resource, that is the capital, the labor, land, building, will also increase, leading to increase in price of the factors. When the factors of production increases, this will result in an increase in the average cost to produce that product. If the average cost of the product increases, the profit obviously will decrease. This is one case. And on the other hand, the other case is when the output produced increases, the supply of the product increases, the demand remaining the same. When the supply of the product increases, the price of the product comes down. This is another case that the price becomes down. Thus, all the perfectly competitive firms will earn normal profit in the long run. As I said before, market price equals average total cost, that is, normal profit can remain in its current business. If the firm cannot cover all its opportunity costs, that is, price less than average total cost, then it should leave the industry in the long run. If the price is less than average variable cost, then the firm should shut down even in the short run. If the price cannot cover at least its average variable cost, the firm should shut down even in the short run. If P is greater than average total cost, the firm is making abnormal or supernormal profit in the short run, and probably will be taken by the other firm or will reduce ultimately in the long run. Long-run supply curve for constant cost industry. By the way, this means there is a constant cost for factor of production. In constant cost industry, firms continue to buy inputs at the same price. That means the factor of production, the cost of the factor of production remains the same. By the way, this one is an assumption. The long-run supply curve is horizontal in this case. At constant average cost of production, the long-run supply curve will be a horizontal line. After the industry expands, the industry settles at the same long-run equilibrium price as before. Let's look this curve. This is the supply in the short run. The supply in the short run is an upward curve. This one is the demand, the initial demand. And in the long run, this upward supply curve become horizontal. That means they supply with the same price. They supply with the same price. Regardless of the quantity of production, they supply with the same price. An increase in the demand for IC increases the price of IC to be 5. By the way, when the demand increases, here is the initial price, that is the intersection between the demand curve and the supply curve, and here is the second demand curve, the intersection. So when the demand shifts, when the demand increases, the price raises. In the long run, the price of the IC returns to its original level. So in the long run, that means when the supply curve becomes horizontal, look, the price returns to its original point, that is here it is. In the long run, the price of the IC returns to its original level when the supply curve becomes horizontal in the long run. Here is the graphical summary of how the firm enters and exits in the long run. When, look, this is the original supply curve, and this one is the demand. And this one is, by the way, the market, the demand and supply curve, and this one is the firm. Now, if here, as you see here, this one is a price, this one is the price taken by the firm, If this price is interesting, or if there is a supernormal profit in this price, the firm is going to enter into the market. So the supply increases. When the supply increases, that price is reduced to this one, P1, P0 to P1. So when the price reduces, the supernormal profit will be eliminated. If we consider here there is a loss, so the market is not interested. The market is not attracted for the new entry. Rather, even the existing firm in the market, tries to exit from the market. When they try to exit, the supply shrinks. That means when the supply shrinks, so the price increases. Again, because the demand is constant, and when the supply shifts towards the left, the price increases. In general, in the long run, a firm in a competitive market can make only the normal profit, or we can say economic profit will be zero. Let's add some pointers about the price determination in the long run. Long run equilibrium is characterized by zero economic profit, where price equals average cost. Price should cover at least the average cost, and the firm is producing product when average cost is minimized. So the key point is to find the output where average cost is minimized, because this value allows us to solve for long run equilibrium price. By the way, in the long run, there is zero economic profit, or there is normal profit only, because a firm can either enter if the price is supernormal, or exit if there is a loss. So it will be taken by the other firms. That's why a firm can only make a normal profit in the long run. That means it is a point where price can cover only the average cost. By the way, this is all about the discussion. So I have provided you questions, solved problems, and you can do it by yourself, and you can check with the answers. This is all about today's discussion. Have a good time. Bye. Thank you.